podcasters, and those ready to hit record for the first time. Join your host, Emmanuel Rose, for a show that's your go-to resource for everything podcasting. In each episode, we'll pull back the curtain on what makes podcasting such a powerful tool for connection, authority, and growth. Whether you're just starting out or looking to sharpen your skills, this show will guide you through the art and strategy of building a podcast that stands out. We'll dive into solo insights, guest interviews, and real-world best practices, all designed to help you master the mic. Behind the Mic is sponsored by Fluent Frame, a creative partner that transforms your ideas into polished episodes and lasting digital assets. So tune in and learn how podcasting can grow your audience, expand your network, and position you as a thought leader in your field. Let's step behind the mic.
Welcome to this episode of Behind the Podcast Mic. We're in the Silver Bullet Studios, mobile in Eastern Oregon. And today we get a real pleasure of talking to one of my podcasting mentors, one of the first hosts that brought me onto his show to talk about the book series, the nature book series I have for kids, and an all around good guy. And we're joined by Howard Fox. He's the driving force behind the award-winning podcast, the Outdoor Adventure Series, produced by Fox Coaching, Inc. This show celebrates adventure enthusiasts who embrace exploration, conservation, and the transformative relationship between nature and mental health. As a skilled coach, Howard leverages his expertise to inspire individuals, families, and organizations to appreciate and advocate for the outdoors. Welcome to the show, Howard.
Welcome to the show. Oh, that's me. I'm so used to welcoming my guest, and here I get to be a guest. So, thank you, Manuel. It's good to see you. I like the growth.
All right. Well, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, thanks so much for spending some time having a conversation with me. I appreciate that too.
Pleasure. Thank you.
So, the Outdoor Adventure Series. How many episodes are you into on this one now?
I was just counting with my business associate yesterday. I think it's up to like 258 episodes. We started in 2020, at the tail end of 2020.
Wow. So yeah, you got 5 years on this one, and you had a podcast before this too, didn't you?
Yeah, I still do Success Insight podcast. That's the other logo up there. And there's like 350 episodes.
Wow.
Which represents when I started back in 2019 when I was living in Chicago.
So yeah, you've been at this for a long time. That's cool.
A little while. And they say most podcasts, you kind of know if you make it past 12 episodes, there's a level of commitment there. Most podcasts, 75, 80% don't even make it to 12 episodes. So I think we've made it.
Yeah. Well, what's kind of been your secret to getting past the 12 episode mark on these pods?
Back in 2019, the Success Insight was actually started because I had a client that was wanting their help with LinkedIn, and they wanted to write articles or blog. They call them articles on LinkedIn, or like a blog.
Yep.
And I had just finished writing a book, which was an entirely painful process. I don't know how you do it, Emmanuel, but if birthing a baby was painful, that's what birthing a book was like. It's a lot of pain. And so my client wanted to write these articles, and I thought, well, podcasting, the word podcasting was being heard more and more out in the internet. And so I had this grandiose idea of, why don't we record an episode in audio? My associate at the time would take the transcript, which is amazing how technology has changed. So we transcribed the audio. We wrote an article from that audio, and then we put the article up on LinkedIn, put the podcast up on my host, Buzzsprout, and literally that was the impetus around creating the podcast with Success Insight, and that was business owners, consultants, book authors. So you would have been the perfect guest for Success Insight, because I was doing LinkedIn searches for book authors.
Oh,
And
cool. Love it.
yeah, so a lot of zombie apocalypse interviews early on.
All right. Well, I don't have any content on that, but maybe I need to get into that genre too.
It's a heck of a genre.
Oh, well, talk a little bit about the Outdoor Adventure Series and what you're seeing in terms of what the guests are talking about now versus what they were talking about when you first started.
Sure. Well, the Outdoor Adventure Series was started as an offshoot of Success Insight in 2020 when I moved out to Las Vegas from Chicago. I wanted to get out, do some car camping, boondocking, kind of like what you're doing up north, because you're a few hours north of me right now. And I wanted to get out there. And as I started to do this research, I realized there's a whole genre of content regarding the outdoor space, everything from dark sky photography, boondocking or car camping, hiking, biking, fishing. And I was introduced to the Outdoor Writers Association of America. And what I was able to do is, one, find a ready source of guests to be on the podcast who would talk about their area of expertise. And 250 some episodes later, I'm kind of fine tuning who my guests are. So I interview a lot of destination marketing organizations. So like Visit Casper, Visit Las Vegas, Visit Carson City, and at all places, globally for that matter. And then chambers of commerce. So like there's the Boulder City Chamber of Commerce here in Southern Nevada. We produce their episodes for them. And the other piece, and I'm eventually going to get to the answer to your question, is starting to focus on this area of nature and mental health. And you and I have talked about that on my podcast, because you have your book as well. And so what I'm finding is, at least if you're a destination or a chamber, you want people to come into your community. You want them to spend money. You want them to put the head in a bed and breakfast or a hotel. As one of my guests used to say, heads in beds and cash register singing.
Right. Yeah.
And we have found that the podcast is just a great way for a community to really showcase all that it has to offer, everything from events, history, experiences, good food, good cup of coffee, and also how they are making a difference perhaps in the area of conservation, difference in the area of access, and how does everybody get access to nature, and there's this powerful connection between nature and mental health, which is a growing body of my podcast library is talking about that connection. And
glad you're digging into that.
Yeah, between the three, there's a never-ending, hopefully a never-ending supply of guests that want to talk about how they're making the difference in their communities.
I love it. Yeah. So, how do you go about finding the guests right now for the Outdoor Adventure Series?
Well, there's three ways. One, and the easiest way, is the Outdoor Writers Association of America, and you're a member of it. And a lot of our peers in the organization are doing some cool things when it comes to nature, access, and environment conservation. So that's why it made sense to create the Outdoor Adventure Series, because I had a good source of guests. I wouldn't say it's easy, but I can get guests if I need it. As far as the destinations and chambers, so I have a business partner in another venture, and it's his business. I'm the podcast director, but we literally canvassed through marketing, which you're an expert in as well, of going out to as many chambers as we could as many destinations as we could to invite them to come on the podcast to talk about their location. And then there's a third tool. It's called Podmatch, where I think you've been affiliated with that too. Is
Yeah, I like Podmatch.
To me, I fill in guests there if I'm slowing down and I have some time to bring on some more guests. I'll go out to Podmatch and see who I can find that would be a good fit for the Outdoor Adventure Series.
Yeah, so that's interesting. You got three. You got a couple of outreach processes, and then you've got one where it's kind of a matchmaker essentially to get guests. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And then what about how you're working to monetize either of your podcasts? Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. There wasn't a lot of monetization in Success Insight, though I did try to do it. And everybody I would hear a lot of, we don't pay to play. And I always had a problem with that because it takes about 3 to 4 hours per episode to produce. Yep. So, I mean, your episode today is 30 minutes. It still takes, even with AI tools, it still takes time and effort.
Absolutely.
On the Outdoor Adventure Series, what we've done is all of these chambers, all of the destination marketing organizations, economic development organizations, our pitch to them is come onto our podcast. So that would be in marketing, entrepreneurial speak. That's kind of like my lead magnet.
Right.
Okay. I want you to come on it, no strings attached. Just want to invite you. I want you to be, I hope you're going to be open to experiencing podcasts, talk about your destination. And when we're done and you really enjoy being on the episode, I would love to come back and let's chat about how we can do some more podcasts with each other. And that's why many of my episodes are podcast series. It's not just a one-off episode, but it's multiple episodes. So like Visit El Paso, Gulf Shores at Orange Beach Tourism, Visit Johnson City and Field Fest, National Marine Sanctuaries. They're all built around a podcast series. So what I want to do is introduce you. Hopefully you're going to have a great time, but then let's sit down and let's talk about how podcasting can expand the reach in your destination so that there are heads in beds and cash register singing.
Yeah, I love it. And I think it's really an underutilized area for most destinations, right? Whether that be a DMO or even adventure travel type of outfitter. And what's interesting is when I look at my demos for my AI podcast, it's 25 to 35-year-old men is the biggest listener. And I had no idea, I mean, I was targeting professionals and I figured it would skew older than that, but interestingly enough, that's where I ended up. Well, what does your demographics look like of who listens to your show?
We're, I would say, a level, maybe 2 above yours. We're definitely in the 35 to 50 range. We are not 50-50, but we're slightly have males as the predominant listener over the female, but it's like 53-47 or 52-48. So, and it stayed very consistent over the years because especially with the Outdoor Adventure Series, is what I talk about on the episode is of interest to the female, whether of whatever age range you're in, as well as the male. So it's about experiences, it's about history, it's about how do I separate myself from the desk I'm sitting in doing the work and get out to nature and just enjoy the dark skies or go boondocking for a long weekend in Death Valley. And male and female are very much interested in this.
Love that. And then what's your split between platforms, between like Spotify and Apple? What are you seeing there?
Apple is probably 70-ish%. I'm
Oh.
working on a presentation that I'll be delivering next week in Illinois Destinations Association.
Yeah.
And so the statistic there, I want to say it was like still 70% Apple versus Spotify. YouTube, though, is growing.
Yeah.
And so when
And
I do my episodes, the video version of the episode, which often includes a tour of the guest website, adds a little bit more
nice.
personal features.
Yep.
YouTube, and that's definitely taking off.
That's awesome. I love that. I find that fascinating because I'm at like 80% Spotify, 20% Apple. So I think that's
Wow.
really fascinating. And the YouTube Shorts is where I get 90% of my YouTube action is in the Shorts.
That's the one area, and perhaps I should be talking to you, like, how do I get this done? Is I need to turn a lot of my episodes into shorts.
Yeah.
And it's gets back to the issue very early on in our conversation about it takes time and effort. Is
Yep.
Podcasting, it's not a side hustle anymore. It's a business, but I have to weigh that against my coaching practice. But I would love if every episode had one or two shorts attached to it. That would be phenomenal.
And that's where Fluent Frame is so bomber, is that just upload that video and then it spits out a bunch of shorts for you. So
I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, I want to talk a little bit about somebody who, if somebody's watching or listening who has been thinking about podcasting but is not yet gotten into the whole flow of it, like why they should from your perspective, and then how they get into this flow of podcasts.
So I would separate that question as if you're a chamber or a destination, economic development, or you're a peer of ours. Maybe they're in the outdoor space. They have stories that they want to share. The first thing I would say is just do it. Don't hesitate. I mean, we can overthink and we just keep thinking and thinking and thinking. A mentor once said, build the airplane as you fly it. So literally get started ASAP and decide what your niche is, decide what conversations you want to have. Is it just you talking to the camera? Is it, a couple guys like us, folks like us having a conversation? And then, don't worry so much about, getting rid of the uhs and the ums and knows, which I know a lot about because I edit. But have an idea of what you want to chat about for, say, 10 to 12 episodes. Because if you can get to 10 to 12, it was either that was fun, but I would rather hang out with my friends and go throw a line in the water. I don't want to do this anymore. All right. Because my weekends oftentimes are spent doing this, producing my podcast. And so get started and find, invest in a good mic. So there's a mic right there. Invest in a good headset, invest in good lighting, because depending on where your listener gets the podcast episode from, you're offering an experience to them. And so I want my listeners to know he put some effort into the audio, the video, and the conversation. What is, do your preparation work with the podcast guest. I mean, you asked me questions before we came on today. I asked you questions in my questionnaire. So know what you want to talk about. And so you can get started right away. I'm absolutely serious about that. The next step is to start to put the processes in place so that you are committing to create really good quality episodes. And that takes a little more time and effort, and you have to decide whether you want to invest in it.
Well, tell me what that means, really good quality episodes from your perspective.
I think from my perspective, and this is where my coaching practice, I think, has been invaluable, is I'm used to asking questions. I'm naturally wired, personality wise, to be curious.
Yep.
I do my homework about my guests before they are on. Now, I do have a questionnaire that I like them to complete. This gives me an idea of what questions they want me to ask. I get a more background information about them. If I get a lot of folks that don't fill out that questionnaire, but I then still do my research anyways.
Right.
I'm on their website, I'm on their social site. So you have to, I think, really, you have to do your research. So you don't want to come in and really struggle to have a conversation. I mean, you and I are having a great conversation right now. You're listening, I'm listening, back and forth, and we're not going to struggle for what we want to talk about. If you want to do it on your own, how are you going to fill up that time? Now, the time might be 5-minute podcast. Great. There are those out there.
Right.
10 minutes, 30 minutes. My podcast, on average, even though I say 30, is really about a 45-minute podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's because I'm curious and want to ask questions, and I'm really trying to give my listeners a good experience.
Yeah, and I would say, in addition to that, you want to give your guests a good experience too, and that was
too. Yes.
that was definitely my experience, and that was what I took away was, how much emotional intelligence you have, and how you really do have interesting questions and care about it.
And I appreciate that, and I get this more from Podmatch, because every time you're a guest on a podcast, you rate each other. So I rate my guest rates me. When somebody, whether it's Podmatch or elsewhere, says, I really enjoyed my conversation with Howard. He came prepared, he asked good questions, and he was curious and allowed us to share a story that would be of interest to our listeners and to their constituents, whoever they might be.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. Well, you and I could have a much longer conversation, and we probably will have a second episode. But
Sure.
I really appreciate your time. And if people want to get in touch with you, besides Googling the Outdoor Adventure Series, how would they do that?
Well, I am on LinkedIn. That's a great place to connect with me. And Howard Fox, my URL ends with Fox Coaching Inc. If I could go back and change that, I would, but it's just, I'm too far gone with the coaching to change that. And then, the outdooradventureseries.com. And I also have my coaching website, foxcoaching.com.
All right. Well, we'll have all those in the show notes and make sure that's easy for people to track down. And again, Howard, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate the conversation.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, Emmanuel. And again, I hopefully we get to do this again when you and I are in the same place, enjoying the outdoors, a beverage of our choice, and just kind of embracing
all right.
camaraderie.
I'll make that a goal, that we get together in either Reno or in Vegas, and we'll set up the Starlink and do an in-person live.
Sounds like a plan. I love that. All right.
All right. Thanks, Howard. You have a great afternoon.
You as well.
Thanks. Well, there you have it. If you're not yet involved in podcasting, either as a guest or as a host or both, then you should ready, fire, aim. Cancel everything you have to do this afternoon, and get your podcast profile set up. Pick something that you're passionate about, either one of your hobbies or something professionally that you're interested in, and start putting together a podcast plan and record 1 or 2 episodes. Feel free to send it to me. I will help you set it up if you need to. And this is Emmanuel Rose behind the podcast mic. I hope you found value in this show today, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks for joining us on Behind the Podcast Mic. If you found today's episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone else who's thinking about starting or leveling up their podcast. This show is sponsored by Fluent Frame, your creative partner in building a podcasting system that works. From professional production to strategic distribution, Fluent Frame helps turn your voice into a scalable content engine that drives visibility, trust, and growth. Ready to launch or improve your podcast? Visit influentframe.com to learn how they can help bring your vision to life. Until next time, keep creating, keep connecting, and keep stepping up to the mic.